Alrighty guys, as you know, the brand new update is officially live in Cookie Run Kingdom, and this new update is going to feature Tarted Tan Cookie and the brand new Snapdragon Cookie. And if you don't already know, Snapdragon is actually a special rarity, very similar to BTS. So in today's video, I'm going to show you guys how you can get yourself a copy of Snapdragon Cookie. And to be honest, it's kind of ugly. Alright, so diving right in here to the game, the very first place you might think that the Snapdragon banner would be in the standard gacha system, and unfortunately that is not the case. They are not on either of the two featured cookie banners, and if we check the probabilities of these, you can't even get Snapdragon Cookie at all from either of the featured cookie banners, and the same thing goes for the general cookie banner. If we head over here to the normal standard banner, once again, Snapdragon Cookie is not listed. Okay, kind of weird, right? Because even somebody like Pattaya Dragon, you still have a probability. I mean, it's a low chance, but you still have a probability to get them on the featured and the normal gacha banners, and that's simply not the case for Snapdragon Cookie. So if you don't get Snapdragon Cookie from the normal gacha banner, and you don't have an event, where we can summon Snapdragon Cookie either, well then where do you get Snapdragon Cookie in the game? Well, unfortunately, that brings us to the Sugar Gnome Laboratory. If you click on the Sugar Gnome Laboratory, you will see we no longer only have the Kingdom and the Cookies option for technologies. We also have a third option now called Dragon Egg. Once you click on the Dragon Egg, obviously this is going to bring you to the screen where it looks just similar to other gacha banners, but again, this is going to be for Snapdragon Cookie. Now, how this actually works is you can summon Snapdragon Cookie with two different currencies. The very first one is Purity Crystals. The second one is going to be Searing Snapdragon Jellies. And as we can see down here in the bottom right, it's going to take us 5 of the Purity Crystals for one attempt at hatching, Snapdragon's egg. And then we also have the other one on the right-hand side for 200 of those Snapdragon Jellies to, again, do an attempt to hatch the egg. On the left-hand side, we have a temperature gauge. This is very similar to just a pity system. Basically, every time you attempt to hatch the egg, it will increase this temperature. Once the temperature reaches to the very max at these, 1,200 Celsius, it will then hatch the egg automatically and give you a free copy of Snapdragon. Now, where the interesting part comes into play and the unfortunate pay-to-win mechanic comes into play is where exactly do you get these Snapdragon Jellies as a free-to-play player? And unfortunately, the answer actually is you can't. Look at this. You can only get them from the shop first, Greeting Snapdragon Cookie, and then the other shop pack, which is the Searing Snapdragon Jelly package. Yeah, unfortunately, these Snapdragon Jellies are behind a paywall, and in order for free-to-play players to take advantage of the Super Hatch mechanic, well, you gotta no longer be free-to-play and spend your money to buy these Snapdragon Jellies, or the upside, the only upside to this entire mechanic is the Purity Crystal summoning option. You can pop off Purity Crystal summons, and then as you continue to try to hatch the egg with Purity Crystals, obviously you will do more summons, and in the event tab, there is an event for Snapdragon Cookie, and then eventually, as you go down, right, and you do more summons, the more summons you do or the more attempts you do, you will eventually unlock some of these, Snapdragon Jellies. So then, yes, as a free-to-play player, you can slightly take advantage of a couple of the super hatches, but there's another caveat to this. When it comes to the Purity Crystal summons, you can see that it's going to take 5 Purity Crystals in order for you to attempt to hatch the egg. But look right above here. It says attempts 0 out of 15 remaining. Look at this. If I click this, it says you have no more attempts left at the very moment. That means, ladies and gentlemen, that it even limits you to how many times you can attempt to crack the egg a day. It says you can use Purity Crystals up to 3 times a day with the attempt counter resetting at midnight. You can use them up to 15 times in total. 15 times meaning only 3 attempts per day. So yeah, it's going to take you a long time as a free-to-play player to get a pity copy of Snapdragon Cookie. Now, I will say, again, the only upside to this is that, it is RNG. You can get lucky and pop off a Purity summon, and 1 in a million chances happen to get a full copy of Snapdragon Cookie immediately on 1 Purity Crystal summon. But I'm going to tell you right now, the chances of that are super, super low. So check this out. In the notes, it actually breaks down the normal hatching and the super hatching. The normal hatching, look at the difference in just the sheer amount of pity that you earn and also the chances. For a regular hatching, again, this is with your Purity Crystals, you will be able to obtain Snapdragon Cookie with a 0.487% chance. That is still less less than a 0.5% chance. And you will raise the temperature by 50 to 90 degrees Celsius with a 9% chance. In other cases, the temperature will be increased by 10 to 20 degrees Celsius. However, with a super hatching, you will be able to obtain Snapdragon cookie with a 3% chance, and you will raise the temperature by 150 to 250 degrees Celsius with a 10% chance, actually a 10.4% chance. In other cases, the temperature will only be increased by 20 to 60%. That is a massive difference. Free-to-play players are getting massively shafted across the board when it comes to Snapdragon cookies. So the very first one is obviously the probabilities. If you're trying to get a summon of Snapdragon cookie utilizing purity crystals, your chance percentage is a 0.4%, not even a 0.5% when it comes to being able to summon Snapdragon, compared to the super hatch, which once again is 100% pay to win, is a 3% chance, dude. That is massive. 2.5% more chance for spending money, obviously, and utilizing that feature compared to the free-to-play feature. Additionally, here when it comes to the pity that you're earning from your summons, right? The pity that you're earning for a purity crystal attempt is only 50 to 90 degrees Celsius increase on your temperature thermometer, compared to somebody who is again paying money to then get these Snapdragon jellies and then pop off these super hatch summons or attempts, which is getting 150 to 250 degrees Celsius, like a massive increase. And if all that wasn't enough already against free-to-play players, they also put in a daily limit of only 3 attempts per day for free-to-play players utilizing purity crystals. Now, the last thing I want to show you is also really sad. If we head to the event section currently in the game, there is no event, guys, that you can get free to play Snapdragon jellies. None of these events will award you the Snapdragon jellies whatsoever. The only event that's currently in the game right now at the time of recording this video that will give you Snapdragon jellies is the Hatch the Egg event. And unfortunately, this requires you to try to attempt to hatch the egg. Obviously, you can use purity crystals to do this, but you're limited per day. So naturally, in order for you to even get to 8, that's going to take you 3 days of trying utilizing purity crystals only. And even then, you're only getting 2 summons basically for Snapdragon cookie, because it costs 100 per each summon. Additionally, here you have to go all the way to 32 to get 3 more pulls. And like I said, none of these other rewards for any of these other events are giving you any Snapdragon jellies. This is purely a pay-to-win mechanic. Now, I have done some additional checking for myself, and I have spoke to some top-tier whales in the game that have pushed the brand new storyline, and it definitely can be confirmed that Snapdragon jellies are nowhere to be found through either the new content or anything that I currently have access to and what other players have access to. That leads us to believe that Snapdragon jellies are 100% pay to win. That's the only way for you guys to get Snapdragon jellies, unless one could argue, I guess, that the Hatch the Egg event will, in theory, eventually give free-to-play players some of those Snapdragon jellies to then pop off some super hatches. But that is very far few in between, and it's going to take free-to-play players a long time in order for you to get an attempt at a super hatch if you're not spending money. To be honest with you, I don't really like this mechanic being in the game. Even though I do spend money in the game and I do buy packs, it's strictly due for content creation, and I honestly do understand the value of free-to-play players, especially in games like this. This, in my personal opinion, hurts the free-to-play experience by several different things. I understand the super hatch having a slightly higher rate, and I understand that the idea of them, trying to make money and force people to spend money in the game, that's pretty standard for mobile games at this point. But the one thing that I have a problem with is, why are they limiting it? They're also putting a 3 daily attempt for purity crystals. As free-to-play players, they shouldn't have that limit, in my opinion. If you're already pushing it with a lower probability, why not make it infinite to where they can at least have multiple attempts at a lower probability chance to hopefully still get a copy? I don't know. That's just my personal hot take on it. You guys, as always, let me know what your thoughts are down below. If you think it's a problem as well, also post that down below in the comments. Let the developers know that we don't like this and we want to see it changed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe here on the channel for everything Cookie Run Kingdom related, and that, unfortunately, is how you can summon Snapdragon Cookie in Cookie Run Kingdom. With that being said, though, guys, as always, I will see you on the next one.